Welcome everybody to the Jim Acosta Show, TGIF, and just so everybody knows out there, this show is a safe 50 miles from the blast radius of Donald Trump and Elon Musk. As you can see, my guest today, Aaron Parnas. Aaron, great to see you. You and I both been following this. Quite frankly, the whole world has been following this over the last 24 hours. The fallout of the Trump-Musk mushroom cloud continues to be felt inside MAGA world. The tears on Fox have been flowing for about 24 hours now. I have many of those MAGA tears in my Real News Pilsner glass right here. But Aaron, your thoughts?
Well, the big, beautiful bill led to the big, beautiful breakup. I mean, that's really what it was. It shouldn't be a surprise to anyone who saw this coming. The only surprise that I had in all of this was that it took this long. Really, when you have two big egos in a room like that, where one is president and the other thinks he's president, and I'm not saying who is who, you end up in a situation where you're going to have this giant blow up, and it happened. I mean, it was inevitable. Elon Musk is obviously not happy, and now it seems like Elon wants to get back in Trump's good graces, wants a phone call, but Trump is not having it. Trump is saying that Elon's crazy. I wouldn't be surprised if in the next week or so we get something from Trump saying that Elon took too much ketamine, because that is the next logical step here in what Trump's playbook is. So not surprised, but honestly, it's just another day in 2025.
Yeah, no, Love Actually, this is no 90s or 2000s rom-com. That is not what is happening here. And to your point, the New York Times is reporting that Trump is getting rid of his Tesla, and according to close associates, again, this is according to the New York Times, is blaming Elon Musk's behavior on drug use as the acrimonious blow-up of their partnership left both men with a lot at risk. Trump has been telling associates, again, this is according to the New York Times, that his crazy behavior is linked to his drug use, and that's according to two people with knowledge of Trump's private comments. And, you know, what's amazing about this, and Steve Bannon, by the way, he has not been one of Elon Musk's biggest fans, but in the New York Times it says he was advising Trump to cancel all of the tech billionaires' contracts and launch several investigations into Elon Musk. So, I mean, it sounds as though, you know, Trump is locked in here. He's pissed. And you can add Elon Musk to the list of people he wants to get revenge against. I suppose he'll be looking for Elon Musk to be bending the knee next week.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I don't know if you remember, but back in 2018, 2019, Donald Trump posted something like Elon would come to the Oval Office and beg on his hands and knees for like my support or whatnot. And then just a few years later, Elon was Donald Trump's biggest supporter, and they were having this bromance on national television. And now, just as quickly as that bromance started, it ended. It really makes you think, like, was there ever this bromance, or was it just kind of this transactional relationship? Which I really think it's more the latter than the former. Yeah. They both got something out of it, and now both of them are suffering because of it, right? Donald Trump is obviously having this PR crisis, which he needs to fix by bringing Kilmar Abrego Garcia back home today. And Elon Musk, on his part, meanwhile, is suffering significantly because investors of Tesla gave him a second chance to essentially come back to the company and have an opportunity to run the company and fix the failing company. And now the stock for Tesla dropped 14% yesterday. Tesla sales aren't really going to improve because people don't trust Elon Musk. And so it's just bad all around for them. It really is.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned the Kilmar Abrego Garcia thing. I mean, there is breaking news happening right now. And I, you know, let's just be very transparent about this. I covered the White House under Donald Trump. They used to do this on Fridays when they were in a bad news cycle. They would throw out some news to sort of change the headlines. You're seeing the headlines changing, New York Times, Washington Post, and so on. But ABC, I think, first reported this, that Kilmar Abrego Garcia is on his way back to the U.S. where we face criminal charges. The Trump administration is saying he's going to face criminal charges for allegedly transporting undocumented migrants within the U.S. I guess migrant trafficking is essentially what they're going to accuse him of.
Right.
But I mean, Aaron, I mean, this is very Trump wag the dog feeling. And I mean, for good reason on their part. I mean, when Elon Musk threw out the Epstein files yesterday, I think just about, I mean, and Washington is a place that is not easily shocked anymore. I think there were gasps in just about every corner of Washington when that tweet went out. And I'm sorry, you know, the Kilmar news is important, no question about it. But the possibility that the president of the United States is mentioned in the Epstein files, and because, you know, Trump would not be able to handle it if those files got out, that there's some kind of cover up going on. I mean, that's explosive stuff.
Oh, for sure. And I also
Yeah.
think, I mean, Elon Musk, by tweeting that out, assuming it's true in some way, he is exposing himself to possible criminal prosecution because those documents are confidential. Some
Yeah.
of them may even be classified. And if Elon saw those as his role as part of the special government employee status role that he was in and is now tweeting about that publicly, that is technically a crime or could be a crime depending on the circumstances. So, I mean, it is a very serious situation. I think House Democrats on the Oversight Committee issued a letter today to Pam Bondi
Yeah.
asking for clarification. I doubt Bondi's going to respond because she doesn't really have to. But let me just put this in perspective. If Joe Biden was the name and not Donald Trump,
Yes.
House Republicans would be hauling Merrick Garland up to Capitol Hill to answer questions already. So the fact that they're not doing it right now shows that I think they know what's in there and they just don't want the truth coming out.
Yeah, I mean, heads would definitely be exploding on Fox. There's no question about it. And I'll be talking about that later because their heads were exploding yesterday over our town hall, Aaron, which I'm so grateful that you were a part of the other night. I thought it was a great success. It was tremendous to be able to hear from all those federal employees. I'm going to talk about that later on the show. I won't get in the way of us talking about the news right here. But I mean, Mike Johnson was on CNBC earlier this morning and saying, I don't argue with Elon Musk about how to build rockets. I wish he wouldn't argue with me about how to craft legislation and pass it. Like, I mean, give me a break. I mean, he's been in that job for how long, and he was kind of a backbencher. But he says, I hope it resolves today. I mean, there's a lot of fear in the water, is my sense of it, inside the Republican Party and up on Capitol Hill over this.
Well, I think they know this bill is already dead. I mean, yeah. I really think that's where it's at. There's And Elon's comments over the past 24 hours have only kind of fueled that fire. I mean, just about 30 minutes ago, 13 House Republicans wrote a letter to the Senate, I believe, saying that essentially that there's a provision in the bill that cuts too much energy subsidies or something like that, that they think it goes way too far. These 13 voted for the bill. You're seeing more and more cracks within the party on Capitol Hill. I think the bill as it's currently written is dead on arrival. I think it's going to be dramatically changed. But honestly, I don't know how they get to passing this bill anymore, given what Elon Musk said, because he has effectively given a bunch of Freedom Caucus members, both in the House and far-right Republicans in the Senate, like Rand Paul, cover to vote against this legislation. They didn't have that cover before. I think they have that cover now.
Yeah, I mean, Marjorie Taylor Greene was saying earlier this week that she wouldn't vote for it in its current form because of what it does with AI, because it blocks states from regulating and doing things when it comes to AI. And I mean, to me, that's pretty extraordinary if Marjorie Taylor Greene is coming out and crapping on this bill. So, I mean, it seems to me Trump probably should take the gift that Elon Musk has given him here and run with it, but he doesn't operate that way. Trump is Trump. And if you are violating what he thinks are the terms of the transactional relationship, then you're in the middle of with him, then he goes nuts. And that's what he's doing right now.
Yeah, for sure. And honestly, this bill isn't even that good for Trump, right? Like, it doesn't codify a lot of his agenda. Like, yes, it extends tax cuts, but outside of that, the bill, when you look at the details, it's not that great for him. He doesn't get everything he wants. He doesn't get the full no tax on tips and overtime and Social Security. It's not all there. Some of it's there, but not all of it's there. So if I'm him, I'm taking this, like you said, and I'm going and rewriting the bill with the Senate and hopefully getting something different across the finish line. But I doubt it. I think that they're just going to start beating the drum of illegal immigration once again. That's why they brought Fillmore home today, and that's why I anticipate it's going to continue over the next several days just to get the 24-hour news cycle off of Elon.
I suspect you're right. And it will tell you, back to your comment earlier as we were getting started, Aaron, as to who is the president, who is the shadow president, who is the co-president. If we see over the next couple of weeks the electric vehicle incentives put back in the bill, then you will know, and Elon Musk is back on board. Everybody who thinks right now that this is all permanent, that this breakup is permanent, so no. You have not watched this TV show called Friends back in the 90s. But anyway, no, for folks who think that this is permanent, I assure you, if they put those incentives back in that bill, Elon Musk, I think, is back on board. And he'll say, I was just kidding about the Epstein files. I don't know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, 100%. He's just trying to get in the good graces of his investors at this point, because that's all he needs. I really think if he doesn't, though, Elon will be ousted as CEO of Tesla by the end of the year if things
Yeah.
don't change on the path that we're on right now. So it's not all good for him.
Yeah, no, and I was thinking about that too, and I think maybe you and I talked about this, or I was talking about with somebody, and I'm sure you talked about it in your coverage, but it almost feels as though Elon Musk had a crisis PR team tell him, like, okay, this is how you rescue your company. You have to attack Donald Trump. You have to cause this bad breakup. This is the only way it's going to work. And, the stock has regained, I think, some of the losses that it sustained yesterday. But, I mean, that was a major hit it was taking yesterday. Aaron, I got to ask you about this other story that I'm obsessed with. Speaking of bombshells, the bombshell in ProPublica on this 22-year-old guy in a major role at DHS. Now, Aaron, I thought you were a young guy. But ProPublica reporting when Thomas Fugate graduated from college last year with a degree in politics, he celebrated in a social media post about the exciting opportunities that lay ahead. His career blast-off came quickly. A year after graduation, the 22-year-old with no apparent national security experience is now a Department of Homeland Security official overseeing the government's main hub for terrorism prevention.
Yeah, Jim, that may be one of the craziest headlines I have ever read this week. I mean, like in one headline after another, but most people when they're 22 years old, I mean, I remember what I was doing when I was 22 years old. Yes, I was a lawyer. Yes, I was fresh out of law school. So it's a little different.
Yeah.
So I was in no position to.
You were more experienced, but anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, but I was in no position to lead a department that has, I think I read somewhere it has like a $10+ million budget. This literally is the hub for counterterrorism in the United States of America. I feel like he's just toying with us. Like, he doesn't have to do this. He doesn't have to put these completely unqualified people in these positions. And yet he does anyway. And at the end of the day, all it takes is just one attack, right? Like, all it takes is one thing to go wrong. And then we're second guessing it. So I hope and pray that nothing goes wrong. And I hope that this 22-year-old is, and will be 25 by the time Trump leaves office, does a great job and keeps our country safe. But imagine if he doesn't.
Yeah.
Like, that to me, people scream impeachment, people scream dereliction of duty, but I think it is a true dereliction of Trump's duty to put someone so inexperienced in charge of such a critical position. And if something goes wrong, then we're going to have serious conversations about what's next.
Well, and a couple of things too. I mean, one is, have you guys seen the picture of his eyebrow raise? I thought I had a good eyebrow raise. This guy, if you look at the pictures online, I think it's his official DHS photo. He does like the cocked eyebrow thing. The other thing is that you're absolutely right. And this goes to a big problem that I saw during the first Trump administration, is that they have a serious problem hiring competent people. The competent people in this realm, in the national security realm, I mean, these are serious professionals. They're people like Olivia Troy, our friend Olivia Troy. They're professional people who don't want these Trump shenanigans. They don't want to be a part of this nonsense. And so he has trouble. And so, of course, they have to reach out to some kid who, is probably pretty good at flip cup, but I'm not sure about, keeping the homeland safe. I guess let's just to wrap it up, Aaron. I mean, the Kilmar Abrego Garcia news is important. It is important that I suppose he is going to have his day in court. I don't like the way that the administration is, obviously the White House is trying to, put out there, we're bringing him back to face these charges. And they've been bending over backwards to tarnish this guy's character and who he is and so on. And that's not to say we don't innocent until proven guilty. We have no idea what's going to happen when he goes through the his due process rights and so on. But the fact of the matter is that he did not have the due process on the way out of the country. That is the issue in all of this.
I agree. I mean, listen, I said it from the beginning. If he is guilty of the crimes he is charged, if he is an MS-13 member, lock him up and put him away for years, right? If he is convicted by a jury of his peers and the evidence is there, so be it. But at least he gets his day in court. And whether you are undocumented and you have no criminal charges, or you've murdered 100 people, it doesn't matter, because in America's justice system, you have to have your day in court and you have to have the evidence presented against you. And that's what didn't happen here at the beginning. And so you can't just summarily deport people without their ability to have habeas relief or seek habeas relief. And in this case now, be presented in front of a jury, because what they were doing is they were essentially saying, he's guilty, now prove his innocence. He's an MS-13 member, now prove to us why he's not. And it's precarious timing in how they did it. Presumably, to me, if he was this bad MS-13 member, because remember, if the president of El Salvador in the Oval Office said that why would we ever release him if because he's a terrorist?
Right.
Well, they just released him.
Yeah.
They just let him go.
Yeah.
So and then he said, well, we can't facilitate his return, but they just did. So they've been lying to us. They've been toying around with Kilmar Abrego Garcia's life for 3 months now, and arguably, in my opinion, like, A, he should get time served credit for these 4 months, and
There you go.
and B, we really need to have a serious conversation about how the Justice Department is playing games with people's lives.
Yeah, and shifting rationale, shifting explanations, and one of the things that they're going to have to look out for, and I think, Aaron, you've put your finger on this in the past, is that, I mean, when in many of these cases, the Trump administration is running into federal judges who have no time for these Trump lawyers coming into court and not having their stuff together and not being prepared and making up facts, playing fast and loose with the facts. They've had their hands slapped multiple times on that front. And to me, I mean, I was talking about this on my show the other day. One of the big lies of Donald Trump's return to power is what he has been doing with mass deportations. They said during the campaign, he said it coming into office, that these deportations were going to be impacting only criminals. They were going to be targeting gang members, targeting criminals, and that has just not been the case. And if they desperately need examples to show that that's what they're doing, one would think they would have begun this prosecution of Kilmar weeks ago. They would have brought him back and said, see, now we're doing it, and he's a criminal, and so on. And that's just not what they've done.
Yeah, I mean, if that was the case, then they wouldn't have mistakenly detained a deputy U.S. Marshal in Arizona yesterday. They wouldn't have detained an 18-year-old on his way to volleyball practice, despite having no criminal charges in Massachusetts earlier last week. So it's ultimately, the cruelty really is the point here. Like, they want to be as cruel as possible. They want to arrest and detain as many people as possible, and they don't care how they do it or who they get in these raids. So it's very unfortunate what we're seeing, and I really think this is a issue. I was talking to someone today. I think this is an issue that will really reach voters across the country in ways other issues won't, because it's really disrupting communities. In Missouri, we saw a line chef or a waitress at a local Waffle House, a waffle establishment. And this was a Missouri town, voted 80% for Donald Trump. She had been there for 20 years. They arrested her because she overstayed her visa. And the town that voted for 80% for Donald Trump literally stood up and was like, absolutely not, and was fighting back. And many people there were, according to the New York Times, were upset that they even voted for Donald Trump because what they were seeing, how these immigration raids were happening. So it is really breaking through. I just wish it didn't have to happen to break through, if that makes sense.
No, there's no question about it. And the way that they've been going after people like this, a person who worked at Waffle House or a waffle establishment, like you said, I mean, they've been going after families. Let's just face it. Let's face facts here. They are targeting families. They are targeting people who have to go up to the courthouse and show up for their hearings and their various immigration cases. I was at an event in Dallas last weekend. It was 1 week ago, and I was talking to a Latino journalist and PR conference there. And one of the things that was said to me is that there are kids not showing up for school. Kids are not going to public school now down in Dallas because they're worried about ICE raids at schools. So that tells you everything that you need to know, that these ICE raids are not targeting gang members. They're not targeting criminals. They're targeting people with brown skin and Spanish last names, full stop, end of story. But we'll see what the fallout is of this Kilmar case. Yeah, Aaron, great to see you, man. Happy Friday. Thanks for doing it. And once again, thank you for doing the town hall. Really appreciate it. Yeah.
It was a great time. Thanks so much for having me, Jim. We'll be back soon.
All right. Sounds good. Good to see you, man.